And Moses, our Lakeland women's basketball team entered this year with a lot of hope.
You know what? They look good. I'll tell you what. The recruits were coming in. They had a lot of key things in terms of their returnees, and they provided something the wrestlers haven't had in a while. That was size and depth. But they look good on paper. That hasn't translated on the court. So I had the chance to sit down with the head coach and get his thoughts. I'm here with head coach Chris King of the Lakeland Women's Wrestlers basketball team. And I know, Chris, it's been one of those up and down seasons, all of 2013 really. But first and foremost, we want to thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. My pleasure.
Take us through January of 2013. You guys had a pretty successful first half, but things kind of slowed down a little bit, and then kind of mention about your recruiting class that you got for the fall semester.
Yeah, I think January 2013, thinking back to that year, we had a really big break from December, so we didn't practice a lot, didn't play a lot. And when we came back, we faced a lot of top 10 national teams. So I believe we went something like 4-7 in the second semester, which thankfully the first semester set us up well enough to make playoffs and be top 16. But we were a little disappointed with our play. We thought we could have been a lot better. Obviously, our weaknesses of being small showed a lot in that semester. So that was kind of an issue for us. Heading into playoffs, we got Nate, who was a really good matchup for us. Unfortunately, Nate shot the ball extremely well, 50% from three, and lit us up. So that was kind of the end of our playoff story last season.
I know having Amy was a great asset, Amy Warbrick at the point. But now you're switching. You have rookies at that position, but you are a little bit different this year, a little bit taller, a little bit bigger, a lot of size up front, and I imagine from your recruiting class that might have been fantastic for you.
Yeah, obviously a big key for us was to address the size problem that we had the last couple of years. Now when you lose a player like Amy in my opinion was the best guard in Canada. She really quieted things down, took control of games. So bringing in a couple of freshmen at the point, we kind of knew it was going to be a learning process this first semester and even the whole year. But the size was a big thing. So we brought in some size, we brought in some guards, and we had a nice core of vets that we thought did pretty well last year for us and hopefully improve their play for this coming season. But size was our main key for this year. And
the start of the 2013-14 season, kind of take us through that and how the team's done this first half of the year.
Yeah, very up and down. I would say we're probably the most inconsistent team in the ACAC right now, something that you don't want to be known for. On any given night, we can go out and beat anyone by 10, 15, 20, and we could also lose. So we're 6-5 right now. We were hoping to be kind of in that 8-3 range, but a couple tough losses, close ones early to Lethbridge, nationally ranked. Red Deer, very tough team, and we let one drop against a weaker team. So we're trying to find that consistency and really gel as a team. I don't think we've really gelled the way that we play on the court yet.
And I guess knowing how you started last year, you started well and then kind of, petered off a little bit. This year it seems you struggle at the beginning, but I don't know if in your mind, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, you know what, the second half is a brand new season, and I know you guys have a trip out to the East Coast coming up. Maybe things and fortunes will turn around for you.
Yeah, and if you look at we've won 3 of our last 4. We would have liked to have been 4, but I thought that we got a little bit better heading into this Christmas break. We head out and play some of the top CIS schools from the East out in Halifax, so we're really excited about that. We're hoping that that's going to be a great team bonding experience for us to come back in the second semester. And if you want my opinion as a coach, I don't care if we don't reach our peak till February 28th, the first week of playoffs, because that's when we need to be good. But hopefully the second semester we start building our way up to that apex of the ACAC championships.
And do you start seeing that? Are there glimpses and signs of this team that potentially could be a provincial, maybe even a team that makes it to nationals?
I think we've seen some glimpses of it, and it's been a little bit rare. We see some defensively. If you look at the games that we've won, we've held our opponents to around 44, 45 points a game. Games that we've lost, we're giving up 66 points a game now. I think a lot of teams would be happy giving up 66 points a game, but that inconsistency right now on the defensive end we see, and same with our scoring. Our scoring comes from 2 or 3 players, and we're not getting it from everyone right now, but we're a little concerned defensively about our effort.
All right, Chris, we thank you for your time. Good luck to you in the second half of the season.
You bet. Thank you so much, and if nothing else, you'll see us in playoffs.
Entering the 2013-14 season, the Lakeland Rustlers men's basketball team brought back a handful of players, all second year. So going into this year, there wasn't much placed for expectations. However, the team is in the middle of the pack and in the hunt for the playoffs. I go one-on-one with the men's coach and get his thoughts on the first half of the season. I'm pleased to be joined by Tom Groat, the head coach for the Rustlers men's basketball team. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, great to be here, Moses.
All right. You know what? We'll have to start off with what happened in January of 2013. I know you were kind of thrown in a situation earlier in that year, considering what happened to Peter Sambu. But with the guys you had, how the team was going, what were your expectations? How did you see it go?
I mean, yeah, I was thrown in there. I was given a team for the best part of last year, and you know, you play with the cards you're dealt with, and we had a moderately successful season last year. Over the summer break and during the recruitment period, we saw a number of those players from last year's team leave, and we brought in some younger, newer players, and we're starting, I guess, a program under my tutelage.
You finally get your hands in there, pick the guys that you want. A lot of rookies, a lot of first years, only a handful of second years. How has that adjustment been for you?
I like to say that from last year's team, going back to last year, is that we freed up a few of the guys' future. Basically, they weren't coming back. So that left us with a nucleus of about 5 players. And so we went into this season with 9 new players, many of them just right out of high school. So our growth curve was fairly steep. But I think we got passing grades for the first half of the year.
How was it going into the season? You started off a little slow, I know, a couple games. You kind of traded wins and losses, and then you kind of hit that skid. Was it that inexperience that kind of really hurt you down the road? Because there were times when this team played great, they put up 80, 90 points. Mm-hmm. Their only issue was they gave up that amount too as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously experience comes in big at times, or inexperience. And there were games that I think that we probably could have won, but we just didn't quite get the job done, and then maybe we can chalk that up as inexperience. And we went about mid-season in through November. We had a little bit of a losing run there, but we righted the ship, and we're almost sitting at 500 now. So I mean, the second half looks good.
And some of the guys that you have on this team, I know a few rookies that have been standouts for you. Calvin McGrew being one of the guys from North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Of course, the pedigree of basketball where he comes from is not questioned at all. Yeah. And then you have guys who come back, the second years. Manny Jones being another example of a guy who's really stepped up this year from last year. And also Travis Blacker, a nice 1-2 punch from the 1 and 2 guards.
Yeah, I mean, Travis Blacker and Emmanuel Jones bring in the experience, the little bit of experience that we had. Both those players were starters on last year's team. They bring the offense, they bring the leadership for the younger guys, so it's great to have those 2 guys in there. And our third captain, Jacob Holbold, he also is showing well this year. Going
into 2014, any expectations?
We're 3 points out of second. We're sitting currently in 7th. We have a very important weekend, the first weekend back, when we have 2 games against Briarcrest and Medhat, and those are 2 real pivotal games. But I like what I'm seeing. I like where we're going. It's just a case of making sure that we come out of the gates in January and get a couple of wins, and that should set up the rest of the season.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, great, Moses. Have a great Christmas.